Hey basketball guys, we have news. Let's go to more news from the Golden State Warriors, but before that, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave your. It's not easy to digest defeats in the NBA, but unfortunately our Golden State Warriors will need to prepare better for next season and sign players who can make the team more balanced, both defensively and offensively. Coach Steve Kerr made it clear that he has problems with Jonathan Kuminga, who has all the conditions to be a star in the future, due to his volume of play, scoring ability, and athleticism. But Kuminga wants more time on the court and that's why he will leave the Warriors. Jonathan Kuminga will leave because he is not used and valued as he should be by Coach Steve Kerr. Several rival teams have already shown interest in the player, including the Los Angeles Lakers, Dallas Mavericks, and Brooklyn Nets. The player has not yet decided his future, but he will be easily traded, as he has great value in the league. Jonathan Kuminga's Warriors' future in doubt after major report. With their loss to the Minnesota Timberwolves in Game 5 of their second-round series on Wednesday night, the Golden State Warriors' season has come to a disappointing end. Golden State entered Wednesday's road contest in a must-win situation after they had dropped 3 consecutive games, including both matchups at home at the Chase Center. Unfortunately for the Warriors, their struggles continued in the round as they were still without their star point guard Stephen Curry, who remained sidelined due to injury. Minnesota was too much of a test for Golden State without Curry as the Timberwolves advanced to their second consecutive Western Conference Finals while the Warriors' offseason begins earlier than planned. Of course, the main storyline for the Warriors entering the offseason is the impending free agency of their young forward Jonathan Kuminga. Kuminga came up big down the stretch in the second round against Minnesota as he was arguably the Warriors' best player in the series after leading them in points. This came after head coach Steve Kerr decided to bench him earlier in the playoffs, which could end up leading to his departure from the team in the offseason. On Thursday, Warriors insider Anthony Slater released a major report that now has Kuminga's future in Golden State in serious doubt. According to Slater, Kuminga and the Warriors are expected to explore sign-and-trade scenarios in the offseason. While this has been expected since Kuminga was benched earlier in the playoffs, it now appears as though Kuminga's time in the Bay is nearing an end. Of course, the young forward is a restricted free agent this summer and there have been multiple reports saying that Golden State does not want to give him the contract that he wants. Pair that with his inconsistent role in the rotation and the amount of interest other teams are expected to show in him, and it adds up to him likely being on a new team at some point this summer. Warriors' offseason plans should include rotation tweaks. Draymond Green's essentially guaranteed prediction that this season's championship would return to the Bay again has fallen abruptly short. Granted, the loss of Steph Curry didn't help. Nevertheless, the Golden State Warriors' off-season plans just kicked into motion after falling to the Minnesota Timberwolves in 5 games. Without Curry, the Warriors couldn't match the Wolves in several categories. On top of that, Jimmy Butler was far removed from his popular alter ego moniker, Playoff Jimmy. The Warriors traded for him, expecting to get that side of Butler, but it wasn't meant to be. With Golden State headed into the summer, there's no question that roster tweaks are needed in a few vitally essential positions. Warriors' offseason plans should include rotation tweaks. The Golden State Warriors' offseason plans must address key rotation positions to help Steph Curry. It's tough to say that if Curry hadn't injured his hamstring at the start of the series, the Warriors would have pulled this out and beaten the Timberwolves. Butler's numbers were good enough if Curry had been available and scoring the brunt of the baskets. Unfortunately, Butler's numbers weren't good enough to cover for Curry, and without that happening, it was Minnesota's series to lose. That said, it wasn't just Curry's absence that stymied the Warriors, but a few positions in which the Timberwolves were stronger, and it boosted their chances significantly. Over the summer, it will fall to Warriors GM Mike Dunleavy Jr. to rework Golden State's roster to fit around Butler, Curry, and Green, who are all signed until 2027. Considering Butler signed an extension already, the Warriors appear set on moving forward with the trio in place. The next step is to surround the aging group with more than they currently have. It could mean that players like Jonathan Kuminga, for example, will be out the door sooner rather than later. It also means that center and perimeter shooting improvements are likely coming down the pipe. Positions that need bolstering. At the center, the Warriors are in a similar hole to Western Conference rivals, the Los Angeles Lakers. Both teams entered this postseason without a true center and suffered for it. Like the Lakers, the Warriors had no one to stand beside Rudy Gobert. And while Green did everything he could to slow down Alperen Sengun in the first round, which he did masterfully, having a legitimate big man in the paint to not only help with Sengun, but also Steven Adams, would have been ideal. Kevin Looney was amazing for Golden State in their 22 finals run, and the 10-year veteran has the hearts of Warriors fans, not to mention Steve Kerr and the organization. All that said, Looney is not going to cut it, and he hasn't cut it since that 22 championship. As for Quinton Post, he's not ready to be a number one center yet. Therefore, the Warriors must address the center position. Relying on Green to play the 5 isn't the best path forward. After center, the Warriors need to look into more shooting. As on fire as Buddy Hield can be, and was at different points in these playoffs, his consistency was low. The same can be said for Brandon Podziemski, who can shoot the 3, but again, the consistency isn't there yet for him. Outside of Curry, the Warriors don't have the most reliable threats from 23 feet out. Considering that Golden State's specialty is outside shooting, improving in that area is integral going into next season. Warriors' Draymond Green makes announcement on NBA future after season-ending loss. Draymond Green made the bold proclamation back in February at All-Star Weekend. The Warriors had just traded for Jimmy Butler. Green was feeling good. That's when he said the Warriors could definitely win a championship with their roster as presently constructed. Golden State may very well have had a chance if not for Stephen Curry's hamstring injury, but now, their season is over. Asked about those title aspirations after Wednesday's defeat, Green told reporters that he remains steadfast. Green added that teams get better in the offseason, so the Warriors will have to improve, as well. Now 36 years old, Green struggled to defend Julius Randle during the series against Minnesota. He even hugged Rudy Gobert at the end of play, maybe a bit of a resolution to their long-standing beef. Great things can't last forever, and the Warriors are approaching the end of an era. But Green still feels that before it's over, they can make one more special run. Draymond Green doubles down on championship promise after Jimmy Butler trade for next season, do whatever. Draymond Green doesn't think this is the end of the road for the current iteration of the Warriors. The Golden State Warriors season is now over, as the Minnesota Timberwolves eliminated them with a clutch Game 5 performance. NBA fans were completely enthralled by Anthony Edwards' performance and how it added to his legacy. It was a forgettable night on the box score, but an important night in his career. Brandon Podziemski tried his best tonight with a 28-point performance. But Steve Kerr said Pods must step up next season. Speaking of next season, Draymond Green spoke about the promise he made about the Golden State Warriors right after they acquired Jimmy Butler. Draymond Green says Warriors can still make championship run. Draymond Green spoke in his post-game press conference about the future of the Golden State Warriors. While they weren't able to get it done this season, Green maintains that his promise from February that this team would win an NBA championship is still in play for next season. I think we will be right back at it. Sucks to end this way, but we think we got the pieces to make another run at it and do it again. That's gonna be our mindset going into the summer. We'll do all that to improve. We got one of the best ownership groups and front offices in the NBA. They'll do whatever they feel is needed to help the team improve. We as players have got to get back in the lab and do what we gotta do to get better. We'll give ourselves a chance. What changes do the Warriors need to make? The Golden State Warriors started the season quite poorly. At one point, it looked like they wouldn't reach the playoffs. But after the Jimmy Butler trade, they immediately became one of the best teams in the NBA and started delivering at a high level. In the playoffs, they defeated a strong, yet inexperienced and poorly constructed, Houston Rockets side, despite being the 7th seed. But playing against an experienced and mature Timberwolves side, the Warriors' gaps were exposed. The front office should try and work at plugging those gaps. Steve Kerr reveals message to Warriors player after season-ending game. The Golden State Warriors had a tough ending to the season last night, suffering a 121-110 loss on the road in Game 5 of the Western Conference semifinals. The Minnesota Timberwolves are now headed to their second straight conference finals, facing either the Denver Nuggets or Oklahoma City Thunder. Many of the Warriors players struggled last night, but it was a massive game for guard Brandon Podziemski. The 22-year-old put up an impressive 28 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 steals on 11 of 19 shooting from the field. It was good to see Podziemski bounce back after what had been a rough postseason up to this point. However, his numbers weren't enough to lead the Warriors past the Timberwolves, who got efficient play across the board. Head coach Steve Kerr had a message for Podziemski after the loss. There were times when the 59-year-old coach was animated at the guard, but he managed to play a staggering 39 minutes. Nevertheless, Kerr had words of encouragement for him. This was a great experience for him, Kerr told reporters after the loss. There were times in this series where he was hesitant to shoot, even tonight he was 4 for 6. I thought he could have gotten 10 or 11 threes off, and we needed those. And I told him that after the game. I said, when we get back here next season, you are not going to turn down a single shot. Podziemski averaged 11.7 points, 5.1 rebounds, and 3.4 assists in his second NBA season. The 6'4" guard certainly has a bright future in this league, and Kerr seems to think so as well. Charles Barkley sends blunt message on Warriors after playoff elimination. The Golden State Warriors' 2025 playoff run ended with a 121-110 loss to the Minnesota Timberwolves, knocking them out in the first round. The team faces an uncertain offseason while NBA analyst Charles Barkley shares his thoughts on the Warriors' situation. You can't go to war with 3 old guys against the West, Barkley said during an episode of Inside the NBA. He was talking about the Warriors' reliance on their veteran stars, Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green. For Barkley, the issue is obvious. The Warriors' core is getting older, while the rest of the Western Conference is filled with young, athletic teams. Barkley didn't stop there. He pointed to the Warriors' dilemma with 22-year-old forward Jonathan Kuminga. The Kuminga thing is interesting because the 3 old guys are making a lot of money, so you're pretty much stuck with them for the next 2 years. And the Kuminga thing, we're like, damn, he either plays or he doesn't play. But now you've got to make a decision. You've got to make a decision whether to pay him or not, he explained. Kuminga's situation is complicated. After a roller coaster season that included injury struggles and a late return to the lineup, he showed flashes of his potential. The Warriors is now faced with a critical decision. Do they continue to rely on their veteran trio, hoping they have one more championship run left? Or is it time to start making tough choices, like moving on from younger talents like Kuminga to find the right mix? Barkley's blunt honesty quickly sparked a debate among NBA fans. Some agree that the Warriors are stuck in the past. Others believe Curry, Thompson, and Green can still compete at a high level. But one thing is clear. Change is coming for the Golden State Warriors. ESPN NBA analyst has strong words for Jimmy Butler's playoff showing. Any hope Golden State had of tacking on another championship to their dynastic run evaporated when Stephen Curry went down with a hamstring injury. Jimmy Butler, the club's vaunted midseason acquisition, wasn't so much a non-factor as he was a negative factor in Games 4 and 5. Over the course of 76 minutes, Butler posted a -47 and hoisted all of 20 shots as the Minnesota Timberwolves easily dispatched the depleted and aging Warriors. Butler has taken some heat for the performance, though Steve Kerr came to his defense and reasonable minds can disagree about whether the playoff specialist was ever capable of extending the Warriors' run. If, in fact, Curry could have returned had the series gone to a 6th game is a major unknown. Jay Williams was fairly nonplussed with the meek exit, directing some pointed criticism in Butler's direction during Thursday's get-up. You weren't asked to win the war, you were asked to hold the damn line, Williams said. For one game. One game. Not 2 games, not 3 games. Just one game. Give the sun in your solar system a chance to rise again for Game 6. Williams was shocked that Butler followed up his 9-shot effort with an 11-shot showing, and he's not alone. It's especially confusing given the circumstances in which Butler came to the Bay Area and how he was thought to be a sheer force of will with everything on the line. So yes, there's probably some warranted critiques to offer. Yet it's assuming an awful lot that Curry, perhaps not near 100%, was simply going to come back and win 2 more elimination games against a good Timberwolves team.